Yeah, it wasn't easy, and Boston played us extremely tough. We didn't have many leads against them, when I look at this series, but CC did an outstanding job. Adam did a tremendous job. We talked to him today that we were going to put him in the bullpen because that's where we anticipated that he would be on Tuesday, and we didn't necessarily want to start him because you would burn that up. So the bridge to Dallin was outstanding, and you get big hits from our kids late in the game. I mean, you think about it, Ruff, Snyder, and Bird, just huge hits.
With Warren, you've been looking for somebody else besides your big three. How big could he be down the road here for you guys?
Well, he could be extremely big, and I'm not saying that he won't be a starter. If you move on, I'm not saying that, but we knew that on Tuesday, if we were to get in, he was going to be in the bullpen, and we wanted to prepare for that, and just to have a bridge tonight.
And lastly, you guys hadn't been in the playoffs in 2 years. A lot of teams, that's not a very long drought.
Right.
A lot of your guys talked about it feeling like forever. How big is it to get back, even if it's the one-game playoff?
I think it's extremely gratifying. With what we went through this year, where people figured that we would be at the end of the year, what these guys did. These guys, to me, did it a lot on just heart and hard work. We had a lot of injuries. We have age on this team. We dealt with a lot of stuff. But they always kept fighting, and they always seemed to bounce back. When things started to look bad, they would bounce back, and they did it again tonight.
Barry?
Joe, can you put into perspective the fact that the 10,000th win came on your 52nd franchise visit to the postseason, and it also happened against the Red Sox?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great things that happen in Yankee history. And you think about 10,000 wins and the championships and the perfect games during the World Series and the perfect games, during the season and what's been accomplished here. But 10,000 wins is the mark of a consistent franchise. And it's meant a lot to the city of New York for a long time. And I'm just proud to be a part of it.
Anthony?
Joe, what do you think this means to Sabathia to have been the winning?
Oh, I'm sure it means a lot. Because at times it was tough for him. It was extremely painful during the course of the season. We weren't sure what we were going to get going into the season. And for him to get the win on the clincher has to be extremely gratifying.
Ron?
Given what you guys went through and the expectations that are always here, you think the feeling among the guys right now is happiness or relief?
No, I mean, there's so much happiness in there. Those guys are jumping around like little kids, and that's what you want to see as a manager. You want them to enjoy this because this is very difficult. You play 162 games to get here, and it's there's going to end up being 10 teams, 10 of the 30. So 1/3 of the teams are going to, and it's really difficult. And I think there's so much more parity in the game today than there used to be. And a lot of that has to do with just the TV, the financial whereabouts the team have because of TV contracts. And so I think it's extremely gratifying for them, and I think they're going to have a lot of fun.
Andrew?
When you look at it, Derek retired, Alex came back. When you looked at being in spring training to be in this spot, what does it mean in terms of that kind of transition with obviously the Alex stuff and then Derek leaving?
Well, the one thing that the Yankees have always had is they've always had great players. And, Derek Jeter was a great player for a long time that meant extremely a lot to this franchise. And the thing about it is great players retire. And you have to, in a sense, move on. We'll never forget what Derek did for this organization. But you have to move on. Yogi retired, and Mickey Mantle retired, and Joe D retired. And all these guys, they were great players, but the Yankees continued to win. And for Alex to come in and have the year that he had this year was outstanding, and it was a big lift for us.
Tyler?
Joe, you've never been in a one-game playoff knockout setting. Is there any way to sort of assess how well prepared your team is for that, or is it just, hey, it's baseball, anything can happen in one game?
Well, I mean, we'll try to formulate the roster to prepare ourselves as well as we can. And I was asked about it earlier today, and, it could very well be the way we played last night. Very similar to that game where maybe you go to your bullpen a little bit earlier and you do the things that you need to do because you got to move on. You got to win that game. There is no tomorrow. Tuesday, you have to win.
Dan.
Touched on it briefly before, but you had a 7-game lead in late July, and to see the Blue Jays catch you and all the things that happened in the second half, was there ever a worry on your end that this might not happen, and how much did the team show in kind of brushing that off and surviving?
I had confidence in the club with what they had, and I'd seen it time and time again, them bounce back, and sometimes you have to keep things in perspective. If I was to say that we were going to go to Tampa, a first-place club in the National League and a first-place club in the American League with the best record, and you have a 5-4 road trip, people would probably say, you know what, that's pretty good. But because of the way it ended up in Toronto, it seemed extremely frustrating, and that we weren't necessarily playing good baseball. We went 3 out of 4 from Chicago. People are giddy, and then you lose 3. So the one thing you have to be careful is that you don't get too caught up in that. And I tried not to, because I kept saying time and time, this club bounced back, and they did it again.
And just real quick, do you have a pitcher for tomorrow, a starter?
I got to ask Larry. I think it's Severino. Would he be next? Yeah, okay, it'll be Sevy.
Roger. Sean.
Joe, Adam Warren, could you speak to the way that he has stepped into the places where this team has had needs tonight and during the season?
Every really good club that I've been on has seemed to have a guy like Adam Warren that is able to do so many different things for you as a pitcher. And I first saw it in Ramiro Mendoza, in a sense, where he would spot start and do those things. Well, Adam moved into a starting role and did a tremendous job for us. We were concerned about his innings, so we had to move him back to the bullpen. He became a bridge for us. In those games that we were down 1 run, he kept it close for us and gave us an opportunity. But his value has been as big as any pitcher that we have in that room. And again, you look at what he did tonight. I mean, he was a big reason we won that game, because he was able to give us 3 innings on a night that I didn't want to use Miller and I wasn't going to use Wilson. So he did the job, and he's invaluable.
Chad.
So just, do you have is Nova going to start one of these games, or do you start getting him ready for a bullpen?
We got to talk about it. We got to talk about how we're going to do this. Obviously, I think it's still important that we have home field advantage for us, but not at the expense of being not prepared for Tuesday the best you can be. So now it becomes tricky.
Also, anything on Ellsbury and Headley? I just know
they're better. Head was prepared if I needed him tonight, and I told him I was going to try not to use him because I was concerned that if we went out there and his back locked up, you're talking 4 or 5 days. So, and El said if I needed him, I could use him. So that gives me a pretty good feeling.
Brian.
Yeah, kind of on that same note, are you planning to play these guys sparingly this weekend? I mean, how do you see that going?
I know that I need to give them some rest. I know that's extremely important, moving. So it will be somewhat tricky. My thought is there's going to be about 39 guys that get the day off tomorrow, and then we'll go from there.
Dan.
When Drew went to the Pittsburgh yesterday, did you get any results?
All the tests were done today.
Okay. So you're still waiting.
So yeah.
Barry. Last question. No follow-ups.
Can I ask you about the playoff roster for that game now?
No.
All right.
And here's why. I don't know who we're playing.
It's just more of a technical question, because you can now, in this game, do like 2 starters and load up bullpen. And
We could do 3 starters, Barry.